right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our week number 2 Twitch live stream for my intro psych class, my online intro psych classes. I see a bunch of you getting logged in, joining me in the chat, which is super exciting. I'm glad to have you with me. Our goal today is we're going to look at week number 2 since we are now in the second week of our class. Really quickly, can you all hear me and see me okay? It looks like everything is coming through fine, but just to double check, if someone could put in the chat a yes or a thumbs up or something if everything is good, if you can hear and see me just fine. And I'll wait just a second, usually a few seconds behind me here. Well, I like that, a little wave, I'll take that too. But hopefully you can hear and see me. Again, someone, if you could let me know, that would be amazing. I'm going to wait just a second just to make sure. Okay, I'm hoping. Okay, good. Lots of yeses. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, I'm perfect. So last week we had kind of a longer live stream as we were going over the structure and format of the class. This week, a little bit shorter, but what I want to do is focus on week number 2. So right now we are in the week number 1, week number 2 chunk of time. So remember that everything from weeks 1 and 2 is due by this Sunday night, the 25th, at 11:59 p.m. So just make sure that if you haven't started on week number 1, you definitely get going on that soon. But what I'm going to focus on today is week number 2. Since last week we talked about week 1 and the things that we had due for that, let's look at week number 2 and see what we have going on this week. And then I'll talk a little bit about the extra credit question and some reminders, and then leave time at the end if you have any questions for me. So for week number 2, and again, remember week 1 is still open for you. So if you haven't done chapters 1 and 2 and discussions 1 and 2, make sure that you do that before Sunday night. But this week, we're looking at chapter 3 and chapter 4. So our topics for this week are biological psychology and then sensation and perception. And as always, you're going to want to do 3 things for every chapter. So 3 things. 1, read the chapter in the ebook. 2, read through the chapter lecture. And 3, watch the lecture video. So if you do those 3 things for each chapter, you should be able to get all the information. Hopefully it makes it all clear and helps you to understand it. Don't forget that if I give you a video in here, make sure you watch it, right? Click on any links that I give you, watch any videos I give you. All of it together is going to be really helpful. And so remember, the first page is always summary, the second page beyond the book. And I did give you a couple of things here about like the types of neurons and action potentials and the 10% myth. So all of those videos and things are going to be really helpful for you. The third page is in pop culture with a couple of like connections to popular culture, some video clips and stuff on that as well. Key terms and review. And then finally, the last page will be application. Now that I've read about all this, how could I apply it to my life in some way? So you'll want to read through those lectures, click on those links, and then watch the lecture video where I'm lecturing to some PowerPoint slides. Consider taking notes. All of that together will give you the information that you need. And this week, again, is chapter 3 and chapter 4. Once you've gone through all of the reading, you can do discussions 3 and 4. So for discussion number 3, this one is tied to chapter 3. And as always, you have my instructions at the top, followed by a video. Don't forget to be really detailed in your responses. Think about these like as mini papers. 15 points in total, right? So 13 points for responding to my questions and 2 points for responding to a classmate. And try and just give me a really good demonstration that you understand and can apply those materials. Watch my video. This one's a little bit older. Some of them are a little older, but I think it's going to be really helpful for you in having some tips and suggestions. This one's all about what are neurons and why are they important. You're going to reference the chain of events and describe how neurons communicate with each other. You're going to read a little article here and describe the 10% myth and give me 2 reasons or pieces of evidence as to why we know it to be false. So here are your questions for discussion number 3. I'll give you a little heads up that number 2 is where people tend to lose points. So a little benefit of joining me or watching this later. make sure that you're describing electrochemical communication. I'm looking for that to be in there somewhere, that you're talking about how neurons are going to communicate with each other. So kind of describe that process along with the other questions that are on here. And then don't forget, let's say I really like the way Cassandra phrased it. I could hit reply right here to reply to them or Angel or whoever. But make sure that you're also replying to a classmate to get those 2 points for the discussion. Discussion number 4 is about sensation and perception. And again, you'll see up at the top you have my instructions. They're going to be the same every time for consistency, followed by a video if it ever decides to load here. Again, the internet on campus is so bad. So here are the instructions. Here's my video. As I said previously, I would definitely recommend watching it. This one, you're reading a short article about smell memories, and then you're going to do a little experiment. And I think this is kind of a fun thing to do. I hope you get creative with it and have fun with it. But you're going to gather a small sample of some items that have like a distinct smell. And you can pick some things that are common, like cinnamon, chocolate, tea, chapstick, a candle, grass, dirt, a flower, Play-Doh, crayons, whatever you have access to. But try and pick some things that are kind of uncommon too, that maybe are unique to you. So let's say if you have a specific type of chapstick that you use, maybe pick that, or like any random item that has a smell. And you're going to take a moment with each one and kind of close your eyes and smell that item. And I want you to think about, did you have any memories or associations? What came up for you? Are there any items, like share the ones that you did, anything else you would try? And then you're going to think about, what are smell memories and why do they occur? And here's where the article is going to be helpful for you, and the textbook. This is where people tend to lose points on this one, right? So just make sure you're describing how they actually occur, not just what they are, but what's going on in order to make them possible. You should be referencing conditioning in certain parts of the brain and so on. And then how could you use this knowledge in your life in some way? So make sure you answer all 3 questions, have fun, happy sniffing with all of the things that you pick. And then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points of credit. And those are like the kind of common things for the week. So far, same as last week, 2 chapters, 2 discussions. And then we add our first exam this week. So I want to take some time to talk about that. But you will have an exam every 2 weeks. And exam number 1 is on the first 4 chapters that we have covered. And what you'll notice is you'll always have a study guide for the exam. So if you click right here where it says study guide number 1, it's going to bring up a list of terms that you need to know for the test. So if it's on here, make sure that you know it, that you're familiar with it. You could answer questions about it. If it's not on here, you can let it go. You don't need to worry about it at all. But exam number 1's on chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are all the terms that you need to know. And then I've given you 2 diagrams that you'll also see on the exam. So make sure you can identify these parts of the neuron and these parts of the brain. All of this information is either from the book, the lecture, or the lecture videos. So if it were me, and this is completely up to you, but if it were me, what I would do is I would go through and type out or write out each one of these terms. And the benefit of that is, let's say you're in the middle of the test and you don't know the term phrenology. It's in the book, right? And so rather than having to flip through the book and find it, you can just reference your study guide that you have in front of you, and that's going to make your life so much simpler. The exams are timed, and so if you're trying to look everything up, I promise you you're going to be very short on time, or maybe even run out of time. So it's very important that you study and prepare like you would for a normal test. You can use your notes in your book and anything. So like if it were me, especially for exam 1, while you're not sure what to expect, I would go through and type all these out and write them out and have it in front of me. So the study guide here is your friend. Again, if it's on here, it will be on the exam. If it's not on here, you don't need to worry about it. And make sure, again, you don't forget these 2 diagrams at the bottom. The exam, let's take a look at where you take it and some other tips and suggestions and so on. So on the previous page here under week 2, you'll see here's the link to exam number 1. And just like everything else, it's due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. But if you click here, it's going to remind you that the exam is on the ebook site, right? So it's going to be important that you have your ebook all set up, registered, ready to go, which all of you should, since that mandatory orientation quiz was due last week. So that shouldn't be a problem, but make sure that you have everything up and registered and ready to go. And then you'll go to the ebook site. So let me go there and make sure. Get all logged in here. Sorry, I'm clicking on things. So, sorry, internet running slow, but you're going to go to the ebook site, you'll log in, and then you'll go to our class. And I'm getting there here, one step at a time. Give it a second. So once you get here, you click on View Publication. Come on, internet, you can do it. Our internet here is so shameful. I might move our time back by a few minutes so I can go home to do this. That might be faster, more successful, I should say. But eventually we're going to get to the ebook site. There we go. View publication. We're almost there. A couple more steps. But yeah, I've been debating moving it back by like 10 minutes so I can run home and maybe do these from home where my internet is a little more consistently strong. But once you're on our website, which we are so close to at this point, painful to wait. On the website, you'll find all of the exams, and this is where you took the mandatory orientation quiz. But if you click on exams up at the top right, it's going to bring up a list of all of our tests. And the first one that you'll see on there is that mandatory orientation quiz that you took. And if you scroll down, here's where you'll find the instructions for exams 1 through 4. And I just want to kind of highlight these and go over them and some tips for how to be successful on the exam, just to help those of you who are here or watching this later. So for the exams, you have 75 minutes to complete the test. You get one attempt, so make sure that you're ready and organized before you begin. And what I mean by ready and organized are a couple of things. So first, make sure that you've studied and prepared. You know all of the terms on the study guide. Maybe, again, you've written them all out, you have it in front of you, but you're ready. Make sure that you have 75 minutes, that you have good internet, that you have a quiet place to take the exam. Do all of those things to kind of set yourself up for success. Really important that you remember that you only have the one attempt. So when you click start, you're in it. So make sure that you have the minutes, you have the time, you have the internet, you are prepared before you begin. As I mentioned, you can use your notes, you can use your book, you can use your study guide, you can use whatever at your disposal during the exam. But if you haven't studied and you're trying to look everything up, you will run out of time. So as I mentioned, I would over prepare for exam number 1, and then you can always dial it back in the future if you find that you did too much. But you don't want to have that moment during the exam where you're like, I wish I had studied, and like you have regrets. So study, prepare, be ready to go. I would also really love to just suggest to you, do not wait till Sunday night to take the exam. Inevitably, like if you wait till Sunday night, the internet will go out, the power will go out, you'll have a problem with the ebook site. Like, try and set yourself up for success and take it today, tomorrow, Friday, even Saturday or Sunday morning. But if you can help it, try not to take it Sunday night. That's only going to make more pressure for you, and it's never fun to have pressure. Someone asked how many questions there are. There's typically like in the 70 question range. So you have roughly about a minute per question. And some of them are true false, which are very quick. Others are a little more involved. I've been giving this test, or a version of this test, for a long time. The average amount of time people take is usually right around an hour. So it's plenty of time, again, as long as you've studied and prepared. The questions are almost all multiple choice matching or true false. There's no essay questions or short answer, so they should be relatively quick for you to answer. Make sure that you're saving your answers, and I showed you this with the mandatory orientation quiz, but make sure all of them are that like orange gold color before you hit submit. And then when you're done, you'll hit submit and you'll get a grade instantly. So there is a little clock that will show up on the website, and make sure you're watching it. You can skip questions if you don't know the answer and come back to them, but it will give you a score right away. Remember that that score doesn't come over to Canvas automatically. So when this week ends on Monday, next week, I will go through and I'll bring those scores over. I'll grade all of the discussions for the first 2 weeks. And so you'll see all those scores show up in Canvas on Monday, but you should have a score here on the ebook site as like a temporary placeholder. And so you can see how you did. So that is exam number 1. Again, it's based on the readings, the lecture, and the lecture videos. I have no trick questions. There will never be a trick question on the exam. I want you to do well. I will set you up for success. Just make sure you use that study guide, as the study guide is going to be really helpful for you in making sure you have all of that knowledge for the exam. So make sure you complete this before Sunday night. Again, prepare, study. Always think it's better to kind of over-prepare for exam number 1. And make sure that you have good internet and a quiet place to take it. Those are important factors that will affect your success. So everything from weeks 1 and 2, right? So everything that's open for you so far is due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Again, you have the study guide here. The recording of week 1 was posted. I'll post the recording of this one a little bit later today so that you can access that. There's also a little like week 1 and 2 checklist if you want to make sure you've done everything. But in general, as long as you've done everything listed under the week, you should be in really good shape. So I have a couple of reminders for you, and then I'll see if you have questions for me. Again, like 25 minutes or so is kind of a good rule of thumb. And next week when we do our live stream, I'll go over some feedback from weeks 1 and 2. We'll look at week number 3, and I'll give you the extra credit. And we'll kind of follow that format moving forward. So I typed this one out, so I'm going to put it here in the chat. If you haven't taken the time to find me on Twitch and subscribe, please take a minute to do that. I really appreciate those of you who have gone through those steps. As I mentioned before, it saves me an incredible amount of time, and I'm really appreciative of those of you who have done that. You can still very easily do that if you haven't. The instructions are on Canvas. The other reminder that I have for you, if you're looking ahead to next week, and I'll put this here in the chat, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, August 28th at 11:30 a.m. And if I decide to push that back by a couple of minutes, I'll send out an announcement and let you know. I will likely just kind of stick with the same time. On the worst case, like I said, I might push it back like 10-15 minutes to give me a chance to get home so that I can do that with better internet. It seems like, knock on wood, it went okay today, but it isn't always the case. On the article page, I noticed the videos are the same. There are multiple videos on page, but they're identical. I'm not sure which one you are talking about. On the article page, can you give me a little bit more? Restless villain or restless civilian? Not villain. I called you a villain. Restless villain, restless civilian. Let me know which one you're talking about. I'd be happy to check. The other thing I have for you while I'm waiting for a little more information there, I do have the extra credit question that I'll give you here in just a moment, and then I'll show you how to answer it. So while I'm waiting, let me go bring that up for you. And this is something that might help you with the discussion this week. There's kind of a similar thread there. So this is the week number 2 Twitch extra credit question, right? And the question, I'm putting it here in the chat. It says here, what is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. So describe both pieces of what is electrochemical communication. Okay, and when you're ready to answer that, you'll go over to Canvas and then click on optional Twitch extra credit number 2 right here. And that's going to bring up a page where you can answer that question. So you'll click on Start Assignment, and then you can type your response in the little box that opens up. Just waiting for the box, right? Start. Okay, it's coming. There we go. And then you can type your response and go ahead and hit Submit, right? And you'll get your confetti burst, and then sometimes there's something else in there as well. Let's see. Anything today? Confetti and Pizza. Excellent. Who doesn't want pizza? I would love some pizza right now. That sounds great. And remember, the way you get this extra credit is either joining me right now live and you're subscribed or put your name in the chat, or if you are watching this later as a recording, you can still answer that question if you're subscribed on Twitch. So please make sure you've done one of those two things, and then you can still answer that question to get the points. And I think that is everything that I think I wanted to remind you. Someone said in discussion number 3, articles about the brain. The video is 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Posted on there, right? So it might be that it's just the same video that I put in the lecture. So you don't need to watch that twice if that's what you're talking about. If they're the same video, yeah, you don't have to watch it more, more than once. I put the video in the articles so that it might help you if you didn't watch it in the other spot. So I hope that clears that up. Sorry for the confusion. And then otherwise, what I will do, I'll hang out for a little bit if you have any questions for me. If not, make sure that you get going on week number 2. Finish up week number 1 if you haven't already. No, it's the same video. Same video. So you can watch one or the other. They're the same. Yeah. And then if you have any other questions, I'll hang out for a few minutes. Good luck on exam number 1. Remember that those grades don't come over automatically, but I will bring them up on Monday when I grade everything. So thank you so much for all of you who joined me. I hope that the quality of like video and sound and everything was okay today. And what I'll do, as I mentioned, I'm going to hang out for a few minutes. If you do have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. I hope you're staying cool in this hot weather. It's supposed to be a little cooler this weekend, so fingers crossed. I'm going to minimize my video, but I'll hang out for a little bit. And thank you so much again. I'm going to put that here in the chat. Thank you for all of you joining me. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. You too. I hope you have a wonderful week. Hope it's settling into classes and the fall semester. Can't believe it's only August. I'm ready for Halloween. I'm all decorated and ready to go. But thank you. Thank you for joining me. You're welcome. Thank you as well. Have a wonderful week, everyone. So they're mainly multiple choice. So someone asked if the questions are just multiple choice. They're mainly multiple choice. There's also some matching and true false. So it's going to be all in that format. The majority multiple choice, a handful of true false, which are nice and quick, and then some matching. Like those two diagrams, for example, you'll be matching a number to an option, and that's how it will go. Yep. Thank you, right? Thank you. That's perfect. Yep. Multiple choice, true, false matching, and no essay questions. Nailed it. I love it. Thank you. And I am still here. If you think of any other questions, I'm here and happy to answer them. I'll hang out for a few more minutes. Yeah, no worries. I'll post the recording of it a little later, and that way you can still get the question and get all the information, and that'll be up on Canvas within a couple of hours. You're welcome. And again, I am still here if any of you have any questions at all. I'm gonna hang out for just another minute or so. Again, if you think of any thing after this, feel free to email me, and I'll of course get back to you.